Diesel, come here, bud. Come on, buddy. Come on, wrong way, you're stuck. This way, up. Hey, oh yeah. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Mainville ATV and Outdoors. It's been a while since we've done an update video like this, but it's definitely long overdue. For the longest time, I didn't think I was going to do this, but I'm actually really enjoying updating you guys on the house and the property and what we've got going on. And obviously, you guys are interested, so we're going to continue doing that. It kind of fills the void. So when you don't see me posting or something, you can basically assume that I just got busy with life and obviously the property. But this video essentially marks 1 year of living here in Ottawa since our move from Saskatoon. And I can tell you that it's been probably the craziest year, one of the craziest years of our lives for sure. Juggling, work and property and, all these other different things that we're trying to better. And even right now, as you can see, Cass isn't here. She just left a couple weeks ago for Toronto for a year. So like it's never ending for us. But I think it's great to show you kind of the fruits of our labor and show you what's going on. Like I said, Cass is not going to be here for this video. She's in Toronto doing her master's program, kind of like a military master's program. At the end of that, we might get posted. So I don't think the work here is going to end necessarily, only get faster. So it'll be great to update you guys. We have a lot going on. We have machines and campers and landscaping and house stuff and property stuff, everything we're going to show you in today's video. So stay tuned. Just so no one's confused, we're going to be riding around in a machine, checking out the property in this video, and I wanted to introduce the machine before we did so. This is a Cadet Challenger MX 750. It's made by Hyson, and it was loaned to us from Rideau Lakes Power Sports. I just wanted you guys to know what it was as we're riding around, so there was no confusion for you guys who have paid attention to the channel. This obviously isn't my machine. It's a loaner that we're going to be reviewing soon, and I'm actually excited to get into it because I think this is going to be a really cool economy option for folks that's really going to fill a void right now in today's market. So we're going to hop in now and go check out some of the property. If you look down below, you're going to see timestamps. So if anything in particular is interesting to you, just kind of hop around and check those out. All right, first thing we're going to do is go check out the trail out back. Go for a little cruise. So we're halfway down the property right now. This is what I call the field. Once upon a time, we guessed that this was a farmed field. We found big rock piles where basically farmers were picking up rock and piling them out of the way. And it's just too conveniently clean back here. It's grown in a little bit, of course, over the years, but obviously people have been using this for a long time, and I suspect it's all for basically hunting reasons, which is basically what we're going to use it for as well. So you'll notice that I cut some trails, and I'll get some drone footage for you guys. So I cut some trails around here so that we can walk and things like that. But now that deer season's basically coming, what I want to do in the future is not only set up obviously a place to like a tree stand or a blind or something like that, but I want to do crop back here to attract them and feed them. But we already have apples and stuff as well, so this is a super high traffic area for hunting. I'm not much of a hunter myself, but my family is, and I think this is a great spot for them to come out and do exactly that. So in the long run, there's also going to be a fire pit here, which was supposed to be this year, but we ended up getting sidetracked with a lot of things that you'll see later in the video. For now, this has been a really great spot to kind of just walk around and enjoy. This is going to be a lot of things in the future, I suspect. We'll see which ones stick, but the trail is going to continue from here, but the next 5 acres of the property are very difficult. When we do get there, which I'm hoping is next year, depending on how things work out, we're going to make a big trail loop back here for people so we can party and stay away from the neighbors. you know, that kind of thing, keep noise down. We've really enjoyed this piece of the property, and it has been slightly ignored just because of how many things we've got going on at the house. The trail itself back here is holding up really well, and I'll show you that in a second. This side's all grass, so it handles water really, really well. But as we get into the swamp, I'll show you what's going on there. We have some cleanup to do, putting wood chip and stuff down and rock, and that was so that it was dry enough that we could actually enjoy the trail right away. I never expected it to be a long-term fix. We knew that. So we're thinking about doing corduroy trail, which is essentially where you lay logs down. We haven't got that far yet. I want to see how all the rock we put down handles the water in the spring, because we have a huge flood every spring basically back here, which is why there's a flood, or why there's a swamp. Now that we've built this trail out the way we did, you can tell the animals are using it like a highway. To give you an idea, I probably have anywhere from like 10 to 50 deer traffic through here every day. So a lot of you wanted to know how the wood chip was going to hold up. It holds up great, actually. It's doing really, really well. So to give you an idea, there's tons of wood chip back here. Just to show you how deep that is, it's basically the length of my hand. So underneath this is a bunch of rock that we found from that field we just came from. I was fortunate enough to have a bunch of people come out and help me with that. There's a really great video for that if you want to see it. We have a bunch of water that comes down over here in a waterfall creek that we have, and all of this fills up with water. I know some of this is going to end up underwater, not all of it, but I've seen it go as high as where I just showed you with my hand. So water can definitely go over that. What I think is probably going to happen is the water will come up and wash away some of that. So I need to build up more rock along the side of the trail where it matters most, but I just don't know where it matters most until next spring. Once all the rock is kind of placed where I want it, then I'm going to put all of the logs in the low spots. I know that I'm standing in a low spot right here. I know there's one over there, and where that swamp bridge is that I call it. So we have lots of work. Fortunately, we have tons of logs that we can use to lay across this trail. One of the other things that we picked up was a brand new LX 2620. That's a Kubota tractor, backhoe, front end loader, snow blower, you name it, we bought it. So the first thing you learn about owning acreage is there's a lot of work. We've always had some sort of like subcompact tractor or something like that. Something with a front end loader, move some dirt around, something to get rid of the snow in the winter, that kind of thing. Basically Swiss Army knife to do all the things that we need on the property. And the machine we had before was a BX23S, which is what's called a subcompact. Basically, it's a Swiss Army knife for homeowners. It's not really a real tractor, but does all the things that you need. From there, you can move up to compacts, and that's what this is, one of the larger compacts. It's still pretty small in the farm and agriculture world, but for home ownership, this is quite large. So for the 10 acres here, the snow blowing, moving all the dirt for the landscaping that I'm about to show you guys, digging holes, moving trees, all the things that we do, this is the machine for us. Give you guys a bit of a tour. One of the best things about it is that cab. I don't think you need me to explain how it picks up dirt and stuff like that, but basically we have a bucket. We also have third function, so we can use a grapple, basically more hydraulic functions, so we can do different things in the front. We got all the grill guards and stuff. Kubota, Huckabone's Kubota, the dealer that we work with, they basically geared us up with everything that I could ever need. Everything's skid steer quick attach, so you pull some levers and you can hook on anything you want. The cab is basically the best feature in the world. A little hot right now, but as you can tell, we have heat and AC and a radio. We are living large. Everything else is pretty standard. This is where that third function operates. Here's your loader controls. You have what range you're going to be in, what PTO you're going to use, actuation, brake, all that kind of stuff. If you're not familiar with tractors, this one is very easy to use. I did some oversized tires. We also did a backhoe. This is the BH77. It's I think the way that works out is they call it a 7.7 because it'll do a hole at 7'7" straight down. Anyway, significantly larger than my last one, and it was the most used tool that we had, so we opted to get it again, just significantly larger. One of the other things that I wanted real bad was a grapple, which is why that third function's in the front. Snowblower, everything you need. This is a front mount snowblower, so basically this hooks up to the front when you take the front end loader off, and you can hook up that snowblower, and from the mid PTO you have a shaft and you can blow some snow. That's everything we've got for it so far, just to give you an idea, but this is what's allowing us to do a ton of work that you'll see later in this video. You are also going to notice that we have another camper here. If you've paid attention to the channel, this was actually the first camper we bought. And the reason why we bought this one was because we were told we couldn't get that one. This was during COVID. So we bought this one, and lo and behold, there was a cancellation and that one became available. So now I am the proud owner of 2 campers. You guys haven't seen this basically all year because it was actually in Saskatoon still trying to be sold. Now we shipped it out here because there's more than 14 people that live in this province, and we figure our odds are a little bit better. If you're looking for a truck box camper, this thing's up on Facebook Marketplace. Go check it out. If you want to know more details, message me. It is for sale. No one seems to be moving money around right now with the way the economy is, and I totally understand, but it is for sale. It's for a great price, and I'm willing to work on it. Let's put it that way. As you guys know from our previous videos, if you watched any of them, we paved this whole driveway and then extended it and added a shed and all that stuff. The next phase of that was to do some concrete work around it. So this whole walkway here used to be a bunch of like bushes and plants and stuff like that. We tore all of that out, and now we have this stamped concrete walkway. We did a little bit of dye and stamp. That was the first time I've ever seen that done. Pretty slick, actually. I like it a lot. It has a lot more grip than you think it would, and I'm told it can handle a little bit of ice buildup in the winter. We'll see about that. But very happy with the finish of this product. We got that done. And with that tractor, once this was done, we got a bunch of topsoil in. We laid it all down, put some grass seed, and I'm trying hay for the first time on top, and it's going really well. Neighbor down the road, I call him Farmer John, he does hay, and he told me, like, yeah, put the hay on top, you'll grow grass like no problem. And sure enough, 0 effort. I don't even water it. It's doing great. So a lot of work with that tractor. I did the whole way down the driveway because when we did that pavement, it left a lip, like a 4-inch lip. And I wanted to get rid of that because Amazon drivers and stuff that are backing up would hit the edge and basically grind it all up and ruin the edge of the pavement. So got some dirt down there now, so that's all good. We've got grass growing. I still have to do the far edge and a little bit of work. There's still lots more to do, but I'm going to show you the rest of the concrete on the other side. As you guys know, we've done a ton of work to this garage. One of the things that bothered me was there's no man door anywhere near the front or the side, and there was no way to get to the man door that is in the back. So what we did was concrete. So the plan here was to make a pathway all the way around the house so you can actually get to the man door in the back. This was a lot of work. As you can tell, the grade is extremely steep and we're not done here yet. I still have to put a lot of topsoil, and I might even have to get some fill to grade this properly. But there was no way to get around and to the back door. The first thing we had to do was sort out drainage. So these downspouts were actually dug into the ground, and they're way out here, and they go all the way down to the swamp in the back. And it's not just these downspouts, it's also, and I'll show you here in a second, the sump pump to the house, which is very active here. Propane tanks are now nice and accessible for the propane guy. Here's the sump pump. This used to, literally, when we bought the place, there used to be bushes where I'm standing, and this pipe would just dump water right here. And it would go right back to the sump pump, and this thing would just keep cycling water. The first thing I did when I moved in was moved it way out there. The water would just pool next to the house, and we had to sort that out. So now that pipe connects to those 2 other downspouts and takes off way down there into the corner of the bush. This sump pump is way too active to have water retained near the house, so we had to get rid of it as best as possible. But now, as you can see, the concrete goes all the way around the house to the veranda. You can completely go around the entire house now between the veranda and the concrete. Obviously, I still have to do a bunch of steps, and the last phase of this is going to be a deck right here. So that deck extension is going to be gone, and all of this is going to be a deck right here with the hot tub on it. This is something I just did the other day. I took a bunch of topsoil that I had out front, and I dumped it here with some grass seed. I might even need more, to be completely honest, but I had to move that pile. So this is what the tractor's been doing. I'm still learning how to kind of grade with it a little bit. It's not exactly a skid steer when it comes to that kind of work, but it does a great job. So all right here, this whole line, that's that pipe I was telling you about. So I had to put some more topsoil on top, because what happens is when you dig a trench like that, it tends to sink and create a big U. So I put some more topsoil on. It's well packed in now, grass seed, and away you go. So that's all sorted out. I'm actually going to show you that pipe over there. So way back here, you're going to see that pipe. So that's 4-inch pipe, and I can tell you right now, between the 2 downspouts and the sump pump, that water launches out. And I've had a crazy storm here to test all this, so I know for sure it works really well. It only uses about 1/3 of that pipe, so I foresee no way that this fails. That is quite the run back to the house. That was a pretty big job in itself, but it had to be done before the concrete so that it was underneath and we didn't have anything impeding on the concrete. You're also going to notice that I have an absolute ton of wood, and all of this is either from deadfall in the yard or a bunch of work that we did out front. I'm going to show you that next. If you guys have been watching for a while, you're going to know that there used to be a forest behind me. All of this right here was thick, tall brush and about 37 trees. I say about 37, it was 37 trees. All of that was just full. The problem was they were mostly dead standing. So between Dutch elm disease and ash borer, if you know anything about trees, diseases and bugs and stuff move in and basically wiped out a bunch of these trees. They've been standing there for a very long time and nobody did anything about it. The other thing that's going on is that whole portion was full of poison ivy, which, if you guys have seen me at recent events or anything like that, I had poison ivy for like 4 frickin' months and I was over it. I was so mad that I just started tearing everything out of here. So I left the 2 elm trees that are alive. There used to be a huge, beautiful one that was starting to go to Dutch elm disease. And what happens is the beetles will carry it from one tree to the other. So I had to take it out and get rid of it. Fortunately, we also needed a spot to dump a bunch of excess material from when we were doing the concrete work. So with that, we basically dumped it in all of the holes that are here still. This job is not done. I'm hoping to have it done before this fall. But basically, we have to get a soil conditioner in and a bunch of topsoil to basically sort all of this out. And I'm also going to be moving a bunch of rocks to build a retaining wall in the back for a woodshed, which I'll get to in a minute. But this was a lot of work. The trees were taken out, they were chipped up, tossed into the hole, the stumps were grinded out, all the brush was cut, and then we manually basically cleaned up a bunch of it, but we still have to do a bunch of work, and with all the rain that we've been having lately, it was too soft in there to get a skid steer. So we're waiting for it to basically dry up so we can get back to it. Before we get to the woodshed, something that I want to explain is basically this veranda. As you can see, Cass has been decorating it and making it a really nice space. This is actually our favorite place to be. I just watch people go by on the road. We're getting old. We're deck people. We always have been, and this space has just been perfect for it. Why all of this is relevant, though, is we are going to be redoing all of this wood, and we're going to be going with synthetic and doing new rails and stuff. A lot of this work here is very dated. It's actually original to the house, which is like 25 years old. But the reason why it's lasted this long in such decent shape is because it's undercover, obviously. With all the new siding and everything that we did, we find that a lot of this is out of place. So we're going to be working on this. But we can't work on it until I get rid of all of that wood. We have a bunch of wood here. I showed you the pile in the back. I still have logs and logs in the bush. I have more wood than I know what to do with, to the point where I'm probably going to start selling some. But before we get there, right back there is where we're going to be building a woodshed and a few other plans that we have going on. I'll explain. All right, so back here is where I want to build that woodshed. So get all the wood off the veranda and undercover here. Get that big pile that's over there, bring it here. All the logs and stuff that I still have to split up, I'm going to fill up a woodshed very, very quickly. I'll have excess to get rid of very, very soon. So right here, you're looking at 32 feet. I want to build a shed that's basically 3 bays of 8. So you're going to have an 8x8, an 8x8, and an 8x8 bay. The way I've always kind of done wood is you have this year's wood, you have next year's wood, and then you have an open bay. That open bay is where I'm going to put some of the tractor implements. It's where I'm going to, split kindling and that kind of thing. So I'll have lots of room for that here. I also said that there's a bunch of rocks in the front yard. I'm talking big boulders. When I have a skid steer here, I'm going to move them because beside this elm tree, it has a bit of a dip into the backyard. So I'm going to build a retaining wall right there so that all of this is on nice, even, flat ground because there's just that final little dip I got to sort out. Behind all of this is actually a creek. It follows from the road all the way to my swamp. The water runoff that goes towards the Ottawa River is actually somehow diverted into my yard, and I get tons of water in my swamp. That's why that exists. What I want to do is actually have a sauna here at some point, a wood burning sauna, and it's going to be on that little creek. So that way I have wood that's accessible by my house, the fire pit, and the sauna right here, all by that little creek. So I think that's going to be a very cool project. I want to get this done by this fall so that that's all kind of started, and I can move some other things around. And then the deck and the veranda should be next year. We'll see how all that goes. But I have to clean up all of this stuff. You're going to see, this was from the previous owner. Those pallets I turned into a little bin real quick just to get a bunch of excess material away. But all of this is going to get scrapped, and I'm going to get that wood shed going. So that's the plan for back here. You'll notice that a lot of these projects are step by step, and they're all one project leading into another. So sometimes one project halts another, or one project causes another. I'm kind of juggling all of that at the same time, but I think you guys get an idea of what's going on in my mind here. As you could imagine, plans don't always work out the way you want them to. So here's my plan, and here's how much screwed up. So during all of this, of course, there's always little things. That chimney behind me, we put a lot of work into the siding and redoing all the wood and making sure everything water-wise was sorted out. Well, of course, water is the theme of this place. We had all sorts of pipes leak. We had to redo all the plumbing. All of that's in the previous videos if you want to go check it out. But one of the things that happened to us is on this chimney, basically there was a spot where we got so much water in a storm one day that water worked its way up tin and then the backside of other tin and came all the way crashing down into the basement. It was a pretty manageable leak. It's all good. We have it sorted out, and we also came and fixed it where that spot was. So it shouldn't happen again, but I do still have it open to make sure that it doesn't happen again before I close it up and do a bunch of work. So I'll show you what happened downstairs on top of our hot water tank. So down here, you're gonna see all sorts of fans and buckets and stuff. The one day I came down here, it was just full of water, and I wasn't sure where it was coming from. But you could tell there was a history of leaking at the chimney, so that was the first place I looked at. So we actually have two pipes in there. Upstairs, we have a fireplace, which is going up the one side, and then we have a fresh air raise, I think they call it. And that was for an oil furnace that was in here originally. Halfway up on the second level, water was getting in and then coming down that chimney and leaking down here. It was hard to figure out because the water was in multiple places on multiple levels. So we did end up finding it. I ripped out a bunch of material, found the water, and found where it was coming from. So I think I've got it, but right now it's still open so that I can figure that out. And before this winter, I'll make sure to seal all this back up and insulate it again. But that was happening at the same time as all of the other stuff that we were juggling with the front yard and the concrete. But we also had, at the same time as all of that, our hot water tank failed. So I'm one of those guys that tends to just learn when necessary. I have enough going on that learning ahead of time sometimes just isn't an option. When it comes to hot water tanks, I basically know nothing about them. I know that they use my propane and they make hot water and it costs me money. The one that was in here before had a 6-year warranty, and no matter what happens, you get one replacement within 6 years. Do you want to guess how old that hot water tank was? It was 6 years and 2 months to the day of the installation, and that's where the trick was. There was manufacturing date and installation date. So the day it was installed, you have 6 years. So it was 2 months too late. The bottom end of it literally just rotted out, and all the water poured out of it, and it was a disaster. So we had to get another hot water tank at the same time. If you know anything from our previous videos, we redid all of the plumbing in here. We actually moved this tank so we can close off this room. There was a bunch of work. So I figure it was already in really rough shape when we bought the place. And when we moved it, that was kind of the final straw and it started to degrade. We have a brand new hot water tank now, which means that basically everything in this house except for toilets, water-wise, is brand new. The only other room we did in the house is this room. We call it the white room, as you can imagine. It's very bright and open, and this is what my wife showed me a picture of and what she really wanted, so we made it happen. This used to be the previous owner's kids' room. It was in a fair bit of disrepair. You know how kids are, they ding things and stuff like that. So we fixed all the drywall, refinished everything, repainted everything, hung up some new curtains, all new furniture, that kind of thing. So this needed a lot of love. It's very bright, nice and open. My dog loves this bed because basically you can see the entire yard out there. It's a very nice view. So when guests come over, this tends to be the one that they want. We do have another spare room on the other side, which we call the dark room, because it's just darker. But yeah, this is one of the other rooms that we did get done. I totally forgot about this. When it comes to the shop, we've got lots of things going on, lots of little stuff. We do have some updates. Just don't mind the mess. I literally just got back from a camping trip. I'm letting some stuff dry out and things. We do have an update on cleaning. So this is my new electric power washer setup. I've used it a few times now, very happy with it. So we have an electric active 2.0 power washer. It all runs off 120, so everything's very good that way. It does need a clean 15 amp circuit. I do have a full video in all of this, but I've been using it quite a bit. The reel and all that is installed. We also have the vacuum and some cleaning products, as well as the bucket system and everything else that we need on top of that. I've been using this quite a bit, and I didn't want to invest any more into it until I knew exactly what I wanted and needed. So I'm pretty well there. So I have a few things coming to kind of wrap this up, and I'll make sure to update you guys that in the future. But big fan of this. It's all about limiting the hurdles in front of you to get work done. And this one was a big one for me. It's very, very easy to just turn that button on, grab the reel, get out there, wash your machine. On this side, don't mind, I have a bunch of Finntrail gear. That's from a photo shoot that we've been doing for them. We've been getting a lot of photos done for them and their product line. They have a bunch of new trail gear that we've been trying out and getting photos of. So that's kind of why there's a disaster right here I got to sort out. This is one of the things that I've been slowly chipping away at, and that's making sure that all my power tools are here and accessible. I needed a spot to put them instead of just tossing them in the deepest bin in my toolbox. So in my mind, I had it all sorted out here. I still have a few more to hang up, and there's a few more that I want to purchase, but I'm going to be rigging up a battery charging station right here that's going to plug in right there. There's just less things in the way. It's very easy to grab. That's what I'm all about. Both of these machines require maintenance. This one, for whatever reason, decided to crap out. I think it's a starter relay. So I'm guessing I have a weak starter relay. I just decided not to turn on anymore. So we're gonna get that sorted out. I have it on the way. This machine, on the other hand, has lots going on. It's just due for a complete service front to back. So we ordered literally everything all the way down to spark plugs. So that's coming. And we also have skid plate kit. I don't know if you know this, but Maverick Sports and I believe Commanders as well, the skid plates underneath are blocking you from servicing a bunch of stuff like hanger bearings and drive shafts and things, but it's riveted in. So you have to drill out 1 billion rivets, and it's super annoying. So what this is we're going to replace the rivets with actual bolts and nut certs. So we're going to have a video on that in the future as well, as well as with all the maintenance items that we're going to be doing. So this just came back from Minden, and boy did we abuse it, but it handled all of it. It's got some new scars, but it was worth it. What a great freaking machine. I expect to have this machine for a long time, and that's coming from a guy who gets new stuff literally every other year. So big fan of the Maverick Sport. Man, oh man, oh Diesel, hey, whoa, hey, that's my seat. You're on this side. There, come on, bud. Yeah, whoa. Good job. You gonna lay down? Gonna lay down? So I think you guys get it. There's lots going on. And to be honest, that's like tip of the iceberg for the last little while. We have just been nonstop. And I know the world's fast for everyone. Time just seems to be flying by. But we're getting work done, and we're gonna continue to do so. We're hoping not to be posted next year because we've spent so much time working on this place that we've spent very little actually enjoying it. And there's a lot to enjoy here. We're very fortunate and very happy with the place that we're at. Now, that being said, if they do post us, it does create an opportunity to basically do it all over again, because we do find ourselves enjoying kind of the process of all this stuff. So even though we might complain a little bit, we end up just doing it anyway. So we made our own bet on this one. It's really funny, when we were looking for houses, we didn't want to spend a certain amount, and we ended up buying this to avoid that. And we ended up spending that amount anyway. So we could have just had a turnkey ready home, but we always have this thing about making it our own. And this place had the bones we were looking for. The veranda and the trails and all that stuff, like that's really up our alley. It's a very private place. Basically, there's no reason to be here unless you live here. We're very, very happy. We want to do a lot more camping, a lot more riding, and you can tell in the recent videos that that's exactly what we've been doing. So hopefully we can get more of Cass on these videos. I know she's the one that's missing from all of this. Fortunately, Diesel's cute enough to make up for it. So anyway, that's kind of what I think is shareable. There's a lot of little stuff that you know, it's not really worthwhile to put on video. But if you guys continue liking these videos, I'll continue putting them out. And hopefully, you know, in a few years, we can look back and see all the work that we put into this. And it's kind of cool to document for that exact reason. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing. Thank you to the members and the viewers that make all of this possible. So yeah, that's really it. Thank you so much. So we'll see you guys next time.